Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities there may be today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Okay, so let's start here on the daily. What's the daily showing us? Yesterday we continued our bearish momentum. We've been bearish literally since Friday last week now, since the buy side liquidity was mitigated up here. Now again, I mentioned yesterday possible support around this area because this is technically an order block. We did technically make a high as well. So I am keeping my eyes out for any support that could be around this area in case, I'm trying to short with this momentum, right? So that's just one thing to be aware of. Now, if I look at our inverse DXY down here, we've also obviously been bullish and now we've come above these previous highs. So we've taken the buy side liquidity from these September highs here, and I've also pointed out these early September highs here that are buy side liquidity just above price in case we need to take that first, right, for any more buy side liquidity. So at the moment you can see we've swept the previous daily low sell side liquidity, and that has caused price to pull back somewhat on EU, and we have also taken this buy side liquidity here which may cause DXY to pull back, right? So plenty of sell side and buy side, especially from DXY, which price may use to pull back into maybe one of these areas here and down here on DXY, or just below price. Okay, but we'll see that more cleanly on the lower time frame. So those are a few things to be aware of, right? We've got bearish momentum but possible support, and we've taken fresh buy side liquidity today and sell side liquidity today, which may cause price to move bullish on EU possibly. Let's be aware that it's NFP tomorrow and there's PMI news later on today as well. So big events, we'll see what price does with that. So let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that shows. So on the 4 hour we have our clear bearish leg, right? All that momentum like we've been saying since last week. So premium identified as up in this area, discount down towards this area. We have now moved all the way into this second imbalance here. So that has been filled now completely, and maybe even filled this tiny one here below. There's also some SMC divergence at this point. Again, of course, there's been SMC pretty much everywhere, but it's something to be aware of, right? So from this low here to this high low, from this high to this higher high over here on DXY. Now that could mean strength on EU, maybe short-term strength, right? Where it's refusing to make that lower low. We'll see how that plays out, of course. But it goes with those possible signs of maybe support in this area where we've mitigated some POIs, right? And we are deep in a discount after all of this bearish momentum, okay? So it could be an early sign of maybe some short-term reversal. Again, we've taken the buy side liquidity above here. We do have another bit of buy side liquidity immediately above that price may want to sweep into first. We've left behind loads of imbalance obviously on DXY chart and on EU. So these are buy side liquidity targets once price does pull back somewhat. So just to summarize, we're definitely very bearish, right? We are in a discount. We have possible support with these imbalances and SMC divergence, right? Showing some possible strength. We've taken sell side liquidity and buy side liquidity today. And we have possible draws on price above for buy side liquidity on EU after taking all of this sell side liquidity. So not much has changed since yesterday. A lot of the same confluences for price. So let's go down to the 1 hour. We'll see what that looks like. So I'm going to start us off zoomed out for now on the 1 hour. Just so we can see the larger picture. Now the 1 hour price action may be a bit more harder to read in terms of the price action legs, right? Because obviously we have the overnight and evening price action where we consolidate. Okay, so we have these pauses in the leg where we then create new legs. So someone may read, say, this high to this low as a 1 hour leg, and this would be the discount and this would be the premium here. Right, which could play out in that way. So I hope that's clear. Let me just draw that in. Now the reason why I'd give possible weight to this is just because we create that overnight range here, we sweep that buy side liquidity, and eventually we break down, making a new lower low below this low. So I wouldn't invalidate this leg here. However, of course, we'll just bear in mind that within the larger 4-hour leg, there are POIs above, more into a premium, and price could be drawn into that. Now, other than that, now looking at the 1 hour, we can see price is still bearish. So if we just go into this price action some more, we are making technically lower highs and lower lows, right? We are doing that, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. So there's nothing in the price action structure to suggest that we are bullish at the moment, that there's going to be any significant pullback, because at least the structure on the 1 hour has not changed. So we do have possible signals and support around here with SMC, high time frame imbalances and fair value gaps, and the discount and buy side liquidity from DXY. So we may get pullbacks, but by no means am I saying that structure is yet showing any of that. So we have bearish structure, bearish momentum, but to me these are also negatives, these possible support areas, if I do want to short, right, continuing with this order flow. I don't want to short once we're into POIs in these areas, and preferably even not from a discount. So I just thought I'd cover those aspects. Right, just below price here, we do have a 1 hour order block as well. So price may be drawn into that, for example, while DXY comes and takes out this buy side liquidity high at this point. It may want to and need to do that before any significant pullback, let's say. So this order block here, you can see price then made high from, so it should be a possible area of support. Now, zooming back into price, as I mentioned, there's been no shift in that market structure at all just yet if we're looking for longs, right? We do have confluences to possibly look for longs if the order flow switches that way. We have in the last hour sort of mitigated this imbalance here, right? It's being used as some sort of resistance at the moment. We'll see how short-lived or what that does to price. So I hope everything was clear. Any questions, let me know in the comments, right? Even looking at DXY, as you can see, we have plenty of complements and draws on prices if price does want to pull back somewhat to a discount, even on the 1 hour leg that we can see here, right? From this low where we swept internal sell side liquidity and went on to make higher highs. So we'll see what price does. We'll see what it does on the M15, where it will show us those early signs of a trend change and order flow. So let's go down to the M15, see what an opportunity for today may look like, right? With my bias being aware that we're in a bearish structure, right? Order flow hasn't switched, but we may have some confluences to support longs, okay? So I'll be looking for longs and I'll be looking for continuations short if high quality ones present themselves. So I'm pretty zoomed in here on the M15. Now an example of a short, right? That was a continuation, let's say yesterday, right? This is our London in green and this is New York. You can see London went above Asia and above these highs, taking that buy side liquidity. Price didn't really do much, I would say. It wasn't a great day here for London. And then when New York opened, we swept some internal buy side liquidity and broke down. Now, as you can see, I had this M15 order block here marked out because we swept buy side liquidity, broke down, breaker structure. We left what looked like some inducement, right? So I was willing to trade from this point downwards to what would have been the previous daily low around here, because price was failing to move higher, and there's the bias with New York. Once it takes one side of London, it tends to continue in that direction. So we was bearish on the higher time frames. Right, we had an order block here, swept liquidity, right, price broke down, it went with the bias of the New York cycle, and we had a sell side liquidity target around here. Now price didn't pull back, unfortunately, we didn't get that, but the momentum came in and price did what New York does, continues in the direction once it takes that side of London usually, and also went on to mitigate that 4 hour imbalance as well, so it was drawn into that. So that would be an example possibly of a short that I could look for, or we could look for today in maybe New York or London, right? However, we do have some possible support areas below and buy side liquidity above that may just drive price lower on DXY and higher on EU, which is why we need to be aware of those. So putting the shorts aside for the moment, this is what I'll look for. I'll be looking to see if we push for any longs this morning. Okay, so price is doing exactly what I would think it would do and what would actually be a bit more high probability to myself. So what I would expect price to do is come up here, take out this buy side liquidity on DXY, and then break down, right? Breaking that low, then pulling back to this area, whatever it leaves behind, to possibly continue going lower towards maybe a discount or just to take some sell side liquidity. And then at that time, now strategy wise, execution wise for EU, I would be expecting price to come down, sweep these lows, or maybe into this 1 hour order block, right? However it comes down, it may come down more corrective than this. And then we break our structure here, which would be great, right? Break of M15 structure, because our 1 hour structure hasn't shifted yet. So it'd be good to see an M15 structural break rather than maybe an M5. But either way, the M5 may break and may get the same trade. And then we can pull back, possibly correctively now, to our M15 order block if one's left behind, with an imbalance, right, in this leg from the momentum from taking all this sell side liquidity and mitigating this POI, to then trade towards a premium. So that's what I would be looking for if we're to have reversals to go long, right? Break of structure around here, order block with imbalance left behind on the lower time frame down here, this possible corrective pullback there to serve as inducement, right, for our order. Sell side liquidity obviously swept internally down here too to go long. Stop loss just below the lows, targeting wherever your strategy targets. Mine would be around the 3% mark, right? So just back up to the Asia highs. So this is something I would look into, something I would look to trade. Again, it would be nice obviously if we had a lower high to then break, right, a bit sooner in structure, but then we'd be coming for buy side liquidity above this high, buy side liquidity above these highs here, up into more of a premium. So that's how I would look at price. Price may hold in this area and then we get that same structural break, but it'd be preferred if we take out more buy side liquidity, at least above these highs and below these lows, and then we get some momentum to break that high and then pull back to that origin of the momentum, the order block, to then go long. So I hope that's clear. So that's what I'll be looking into today. I hope you gained value from that. I hope it was clear. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.